Little Kids Rock is a charity organization that helps get music programs into schools and helps get kids, less fortunate kids, instruments. And so I'm very honored to be a part of that as an honorary board of directors, and to be able to use what I've picked up along the way playing professionally and from what I've learned to help the next generations to come of musicians and songwriters, performers. The first time I ever heard about Little Kids Rock was, I had heard about it that Dimebag Darrell had something to do with it. And then I went with Adam to a school, and we went and played with the kids, and that was something that Little Kids Rock had put on, and I think Slash had just done something there. So it's a charity whose name's getting out there with musicians. Yeah, well, no, I've always, because I used to, when I lived in Texas, I used to teach at first as an apprentice to my guitar teacher, and from then on, he made me branch out and start teaching on my own as part of my teaching, as part of my training, I guess. You have to know it so well where you have to know how to play to where you can teach it to someone. There's a difference in being able to play something and being able to explain to someone else how to play it and kind of transmitting that from your brain to theirs. Well, it's kind of too late to turn around and say, what am I going to do when I grow up now? But I think there's something, I remember Eminem did an interview or something, and he said that if he didn't have his daughter, he wouldn't have even made it, because once he had kids, it really pushed him to where he had to take care of his daughter. So I think that there's something about that changed the way I play, and kind of changed my approach. It's not about just playing or having a good time. I won't say like it's work, like it's a tedious job, but you have to play in a way to where people have to be taken care of and fed because you laid it down so well. It really just means if there's a problem, you're the one that gets yelled at. But you're in charge of the music and everything that's going on, but everybody in the band pulls their weight. It's not like I go in and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to play this, because everybody has their ideas that they bring to the table, and that's what kind of makes the magic of a show, is you have everybody's input from every one of the dancers, from every one of the musicians. I hope so. I've got, we're gonna get together and do a bunch of writing, and I have stuff to submit to him. It's his decision, and I guess everybody that is in that realm of putting out the next album. There's a lot of decisions that go into that. There's whoever's producing it, the record label. There's a lot of people who will have their input, but ultimately it's up to Adam. It depends on what we come up with. I'm confident that we're going to come up with something really cool. So you just never know. You never know. Hopefully. Originally it came about because that was the only way. Sometimes I've become the only person that I can rely on if I want to play a show, because so many other people can have so many other things going on. So when I first started playing acoustic, I did that because I could go out and just play anywhere and not have to answer to anybody. And for some reason, that's always been a key to success. When I first moved to Los Angeles, I worked at a guitar center, and then that just it didn't work out. It was I wasn't that great with selling guitars. I'm great at selling a guitar that you should get, but not necessarily something that's going to make you your best commission. Because the guitar that may make you your best commission may be the worst of all the guitars. So I decided to quit and start teaching so I could be my own boss, kind of. And then from there I started teaching Guy Ritchie and Madonna and a bunch of other people like that. When I went on the first Madonna tour, I had 55 students that I had to kind of leave behind to go on tour. And then the downfall of that is after you go on tour for most of the year and you come home, most of the students, if they're serious about it, they've gone to another teacher. They're not going to wait for you. And then other people have just Some people just want to learn a couple of chords just to play around for fun at home. Some people want to get serious and write songs or play in a band or something like that. Well, I'm definitely playing one show at the end of September when we have a small break. Right after we're done with the U.S. leg of the tour, or the North American leg of the tour. And then we go overseas. We're not going to be done until, I don't know the exact date, but I'm just, basically the end of the year. I'm sure usually in a touring cycle you get home right before Christmas. That's pretty standard at some point. So then, and that's, as of now, that's going to be, it for the Glam Nation Tour. And so, I don't know what Adam's schedule is, but I'm sure there'll be another album involved at that point, and then just, whatever could come along the way between here and there. So I'm guessing in January what I want to start doing is playing more shows, with The Deepest Dark, but then I got to start working on the second album too. So that's, there will be shows for The Deepest Dark, but I don't know if there's not going to be an actual tour like this, like where I'm in a bus and I'm probably not coming to Erie, Pennsylvania, playing somewhere, but you never know. It'll probably be more one-off shows, and then realistically the tour would probably happen after like the next album comes out, because The Deepest Dark is the only album that's going to be just acoustic. The next album is going to have drums, keyboards, bass, and it's almost like a cross between, I guess like if Lady Gaga produced an acoustic album or something. Maybe that term's used too much, but it's going to be, I could always do the songs acoustic, but it's going to sound massive at the same time. So then when I'm playing live, I can do both songs and have it to where the problem with doing just an acoustic show is for a lot of people it can get boring. So I'm throwing some other things in there to keep it interesting. And taking things that I've learned from touring with Madonna and touring with Adam and touring with Prong and putting all these ideas, it can become a challenge to keep the whole audience entertained. But there's an artist, Nick Drake, who's a huge influence of mine, and he was around in the early 70s. He died in like 74, and he's one of these people that if you hear his stuff now, you think, this guy, why wasn't he huge? Why wasn't he a massive star? Or somebody like Cat Stevens or Bob Dylan. And one of his problems, something that I've run into, is that when you play out, you're playing like in a bar or something, and people are drinking and they're talking. It's not that they don't. They're not like appreciating what you're doing or not being respectful of what you're doing, because they're there to have a good time too, and you can become the music in the background. So I read somewhere that that's a problem that he had, is that he would be playing these soft, slow acoustic songs if these people were drunk in a bar, or then he would have to change the tuning of his guitar or something like that. When it's just you and a guitar singing, you don't have your band to fall back on if you want to go off stage or you want to change a guitar or something like that. Then you have dead space. So that's one of the reasons that. But the next show that I do is I'm going to have people playing with me. So it's not going to just be all acoustic. No, this is something I can always do on the side, and I can always do this for the rest of my life too.